Good morning, dear students. Myself, Sabina Lobo, and I am going to explain you Chapter 5, Separation of Substances, Part 2. Topics covered are methods of separation, mixture of solid and liquids. In that, Part A is separation of soluble solids from mixture. B. Separation of insoluble solids from mixture. In that, there are two topics. First is filtration and second is sedimentation and decantation. Children, now I am going to explain you about mixture of solids in liquids. When solids and liquids are mixed, the solid may or may not dissolve in the liquids. So in this picture we can see that this is the solid and this is the liquid. So when we will dissolve in it, sometime what happens? The solid may not dissolve in the liquid. The amount by which a solid dissolves in a liquid at a particular temperature is called its solubility in that liquid. So now if we will dissolve the solid, that is the solute, and the liquid at a particular temperature, so what will happen? It will get dissolved, and that is called the solubility in that liquid. The mixtures obtained when solid, liquid or gases dissolve in a liquid are called solution. So the mixtures like solid, liquid or gas, when it will dissolve in a liquid, so it will call solution. So in this picture we can see that there is both solid and liquid and it got dissolved in the solution. The substance which dissolves in a liquid is called solute. So in this picture we can see the substance which is solute and it is getting dissolved in a liquid. So it is called a solute. For example, we can see that common salt, sugar and glucose. These all are solutes and that can be easily soluble in water. Means as you know that common salt, sugar and glucose, they all can be get dissolved in a solution of water. The liquid that is present in larger quantity which dissolves another substance or solute is called a solvent. So in this picture we can see that solvent, it is a liquid and it is in larger quantity and it is dissolving the another substance, that is solute, and therefore it is called a solvent. Most common is the water, petrol, kerosene, alcohol, etc. These all are the example of solvent. Water dissolves most substance and it is therefore called a universal solvent. So in this picture we can see that we can dissolve sugar, salt, etc. and water is a universal solvent. So we can dissolve more things in water. Children, now I am going to explain you activity 4, mixture of solid in liquid. Here in this picture we can see that we have to take 50 ml of water in each 3 beakers. So the first beaker we will label 1, 2 and 3, and then we have to add a spoonful each of powdered sugar in the beaker 1, and then the second beaker we will add common salt and the third beaker glucose. Then we have to stir the contents of each beaker with the glass rod. When common salt in beaker 2 dissolves, so in this picture we can see that when the common salt is dissolved in the beaker 2, we will add 1 more spoon of salt in it and we will continue doing it till no more salt dissolve in it. Then what we will do, we will repeat the same process with the glucose and the powdered sugar. Record the number of spoons of common salt, glucose and sugar added respectively in each beaker till they cannot be dissolved anymore. So here we have to record the number of spoons that we have added, that is powdered sugar, common salt and glucose, till they cannot be dissolved anymore. Then we have to find the difference in the number of spoons, and that shows the different substance and different solubility in the same amount of water. So for example, for powdered sugar we have put 5 spoons, for common salt 6 spoons and for glucose 7 spoons. So here what we can see the different substance is having the different solubility and it is having in same amount of water. Children, as we had seen in the above activity, a stage comes when no more solute can be dissolved in a solvent at a given temperature. So in this picture we can see this is a saturated solution, and here no more solid dissolve. So in this picture we can see that we are trying to add the sugar and it is not getting dissolved in the solvent. So at that particular stage the solution is said to be saturated. So it is not getting dissolved, so it is a saturated solution. However, if you change the temperature, that is if you heat the same solution, so more solid can be added to it. So in this picture we can see that we are heating the same solution, and here sugar is the solute and water is the solvent. So we are adding the more sugar. So on heating the sugar, what happens? The solute, that is the sugar, it gets dissolved. So here heating increases with increase the solubility of the solute. So what will happen if we will heat? So what will happen? It will increase the solubility. So after heating, what will happen? The sugar will get dissolved. So again we can add the sugar. So here we can say that heating increases the solubility of a solute. The solubility of a substance increases with increase in temperature and decreases with the fall in temperature. So here we can see that when we were increasing the temperature, in the last slide we had seen that when we were heating it, so we were able to dissolve more solid in the solution. But here we can see that this is a cold water and we are adding the sugar cubes, but it is not getting dissolved. So here it is that it is getting decreased with the fall in temperature. So you have noticed that dissolving sugar in a glass of very cold milk or water takes longer time and the sugar does not dissolve completely. So here we can see that in this picture that this is a cold water and we have put the sugar, that is the sugar cubes. So in this picture you can see that it is not getting dissolved in the cold water because there is a decrease with the fall in temperature. Children, now I am going to explain you about a saturated solution. Here there is a definition for it. A solution which cannot dissolve more solute at a given temperature is called a saturated solution at that temperature. So in this picture we can see here it is a saturated solution and no more solute dissolve in it. So here this is a solution and the solute is sugar particles. So we can see that the sugar particles are not getting dissolved in the solution. So therefore it is called a saturated solution. Children, now I am going to explain you activity 5. Increase and decrease in temperature affects the solubility of a substance. So here we will see that here we have to take two beakers filled with water, one containing a tap water and other filled with a ice cold water. So here we can see, children, that there are two beakers. One is containing a tap water and other is having a ice cold water. So then we have to add 2 spoonful of sugar to each of the beaker, and then here you can see that there is a glass rod. So we have to stir it with a glass rod. Sugar dissolves completely in tap water which is at room temperature. So in this picture we can see that the water is at room temperature and the sugar dissolves completely at room temperature, whereas in the ice cold water it remains insoluble, it does not get dissolved. So here, children, we can see that now we have to heat the water of both the beakers individually. So we'll heat both the beakers individually. So here we can see that the insoluble sugar in ice cold water dissolves, because on heating what happens, it gets dissolved. So now more sugar can be dissolved in both the beakers. In tap water we can dissolve the sugar, but in ice cold water it is getting heated. So in that also we can dissolve more sugar in it, because on heating it get dissolves. Children, here we can see that it shows that solubility decreases with the fall in temperature. So here it is ice cold water, so it get decrease with the fall in temperature. It means that when we are adding the sugar, so it is not getting melted because there is a decrease with the fall in temperature. But when we are heating this ice cold water, so what happened, there is a increase in the temperature and it increases the solubility of the solute in the solvent. It means that the sugar is getting dissolved in this water because it is getting heated and it is getting increased in solubility. Children, now I am going to explain you about the separation of soluble solids from mixture. Evaporation. Children, you might have seen that your mother put the wet clothes out in the sun to dry quickly. So why does it happen? This happens due to the evaporation of water. So when in this picture we can see that when the clothes are put in the sun, so the sun is hot, so it evaporates all the water from the clothes and the clothes get dry quickly. Children, here we will see one more example. If a solid is dissolved in a liquid, the components can be separated through the evaporation. So in this picture we can see this is a water and that we are putting salt. So it is a salt solution. And when we will heat, what will happen? Here in this picture we can see that the water is getting evaporated and the salt is left behind. So here the liquid components of the mixture evaporates. So the liquid got evaporated and it has left behind the solid residue. That is, the salt is left behind. Seawater contains many salts dissolved in it. As this picture we can see that it is a seawater and is containing many salt dissolved in it. So to obtain salt, the seawater is allowed to stand in a shallow pit called lagoons. So in this picture we can see that there is a shallow pit and there the seawater is stored, and here we can separate the salt from it and it is called lagoons. So here we are separating salt from sea water in lagoons, that is through evaporation. Over a period of time, water evaporates completely due to heat of the sun, leaving behind the solid salt. So in this picture we can see that what happens, that after a period of time water is getting evaporated and you can see, children, that only the salt is left behind. Then what they do, then this is processed and purified to obtain common salt. Then after they are purifying the salt and we can obtain it for our food, and it is also known as a common salt. Not only seawater but the water of certain lakes like Sambar Lake in Rajasthan also contain salt. So in this picture we can see that this is a Sambar Lake in Rajasthan and also contains salt. Sailors spend a long time at sea and are always in need of replenishing their drinking water supply. So here what sailors, what they do, they are near the sea for a long time and they are always in the need of replenishing, means they are lack of water, so they are purifying that sea water and they are using it for their drinking water supply. So children, here we can see that they heat the sea water and collect vapors in huge sponges. So in this picture we can see that they are heating the sea water and then later they collect the water in the sponge. This is the sponge and they collect the water. So all the salt get collected in this sponge and then the water is fit for drinking. So they wring out these sponges to get drinking water. So this sponge is soaking the salt and we can drink the water. Separation of insoluble solids from mixture. Solid which do not dissolve completely in a liquid can be separated by the following methods. So children, here we will see that the solid which is not dissolving completely in a liquid. So for that there are some following methods. Filtration. You can get a good idea of filtration by watching your mother when she makes tea at home. So here there is an example of filtration. So here we can get a good idea of filtration, that when you see that your mother, when she is making a tea at home, so what she does, she pours the tea into a cup. So you can see that the tea is getting poured in a cup and then she filters it using a strainer. So here she is using a strainer to filter the tea. So children, here we can see that the tea liquid goes into the cup while the tea leaves, that is solid, remains in the strainer. So children, you can see in this picture that the tea liquid, it is going into the cup while the tea leaves, that is the residue, it is in the strainer. The liquid which passes through the strainer is called filtrate. So here the liquid which is passing through the strainer, it is called a filtrate, while the solid which is left behind in the strainer is called residue. So the solid particle which is left in the strainer, it is called a residue. So here we are separating the tea leaves with the help of filtration process. Children, here we can see that in a laboratory the process of filtration is little different. So in the laboratory what happens, children? The process of filtration is little different. Here we are using this glass funnel for filtration. A filtration funnel is used in place of strainer. So children, at home what we were doing? We were using strainer to strain the tea leaves for tea. But here we have to use a glass funnel. It is also known as filtration funnel. A special kind of strainer with tiny pores known as filter paper is used to make a funnel. So in this picture we can see it is a special kind of strainer. It is having a tiny pores and is known as filter paper, and it is used in funnel to filter it. A cone is made with filter paper and placed inside a glass funnel. So children, here we can see that we have to take a paper and we have to make it in a cone shape, and then we have to put it in the funnel, inside the glass funnel. So the funnel with the filter paper cone inside it makes the filtration funnel. So here what we can see that the funnel with the filter paper. So here we have to put the filter paper in the funnel and it is in the cone shape. So it is in the form of that funnel, and so here we are making the filtration funnel. So children, here we will see that when a mixture is made to pass through the filtration funnel, the liquid components passes through it, but the solid components remain behind the filter paper. So here we will take a beaker and then we will take a filtration funnel, and then we will pour the liquid in it. That is the liquid and the insoluble solid. So what you can see that the insoluble solid is left on the filter paper and the liquid is passed through the funnel, leaving behind the solid residue in the filter paper. So children, here now we will see that what we can use for filtration. So here we can use filter paper. So in this picture we can see that this is a filter paper that we can use to filter anything. A piece of muslin cloth which has a very fine holes. So here we can see this is a muslin cloth which we can use for tap water. Like we can tie it on the tap water and then we can get a clear and pure water. So it is having a very fine hole. So what happens? All the dust get collected in this muslin cloth if you are using it for tap water, means to get a clean water. Or a wire mesh, commonly known as a strainer. We also use this wire mesh in the bathroom so that all the dust get collected on this wire mesh. Children, now I am going to explain you activity 6, filtration. Here we can see a paper in a circle form. We have to cut in a circle form and then we have to fold it. It is a filter paper, and then we have to fold it in circle and then we will get a filter paper cone. Now here we can see that we have to take in a 100 ml beaker, we have to take a water, and then you can see that we have to add a spoonful of soil and mud into it. Then you can also make a mixture of sawdust and water. So children, if you want you can take a mixture of sawdust or water also, but here we are taking the mixture of mud and water. So pour this water and mud mixture through a funnel made from filter paper as shown in the diagram. So children, now what we will do, we will pour this water and mud mixture through a funnel, that is a filter paper, as shown in the diagram. So children, here we can observe that mud settle down on the filter paper. So in this picture we can see that when we are pouring the mixture of mud and water, so it is getting settled on the filter paper, but the water, it is getting filtered, in that there is no mud in it. That is the muddy but without any salt particles. The water is muddy but there is no salt particles in it. So here we are collecting it in the second beaker. So here we can get partially clean water. Children, now I am going to explain you about sedimentation and decantation. How are impurities separated from rice to pulse before cooking? So here in this picture we can see that we can do it by hand picking. So the visible and the larger impurities are first removed by hand picking, and then the rice and pulse are washed in the water. So what we have to do, children, here, that when we see any visible and large impurity particles, so we remove it by the hand. So in this picture we can see that there is a lady who is removing the particles, that is impurities, by her hand, that is by hand picking method. And then we have to wash the rice or the pulse in the water, that is sedimentation. So children, here we can see that the dust particles being lighter float, while the rice or the pulse being heavier settle at the bottom. So in this picture we can see that here we are taking an example of dal. So what happens, the lighter or the dust particles is floating on the water, whereas the other particle settles down, that is the heavier pulses settles at the bottom. These heavier and insoluble soil particles which settle down at the bottom of the container are called sediments. So here we can see that the heavier insoluble particles which are settled down at the bottom of the container, they are called sediments. So children, here you can see the sediments can be separated by the process of sedimentation. So here the floating impurities, we are putting it in the other beaker, and that is the sediments, and here this is the sedimented rice. So the lighter particles can be separated by the method of decantation which follows sedimentation. So you can see that the water which we are pouring in the beaker, it is the decanted impurities, and in the other beaker this is the sedimented rice. So this is followed by the sedimentation method. Children, now I am going to explain you the definition of sedimentation and decantation. So here we will see about sedimentation, the process of settling down of heavier insoluble particles in a mixture of a insoluble substance in liquid is called sedimentation. So in this picture we can see that sand, it is a heavier insoluble particles of a mixture and is getting settled down, whereas the water is the lighter particle and it is floating. So this process is known as sedimentation. For example, here we are obtaining a clean water from a muddy water. Next is decantation. So here we can see the process of transferring of liquid from one vessel to another after sedimentation without disturbing the sediment is called decantation. So now what we are doing here, we are transferring the water from one beaker to the another beaker, and we are not disturbing the sediments, that is the sand, in the other beaker. We are just pouring the clear water, and what is happening, the sediments are left behind in the other beaker, and this is called decantation. Children, now I am going to explain you activity 7, sedimentation and decantation. So here children, we have to take a mixture of sand and water in a container. So here we can see a beaker, it is a mixture of sand and water, and allow this mixture to stand for a few minutes without disturbing it. Sand settles at the bottom, that is sedimentation. So now what we have to do, we have to allow this mixture to stand in a water. So we have to not disturb the water. So what you can see that the sediments, that is the sand, it is settled at the bottom, and the liquid, that is the water, it is floating up. Now slowly and carefully transfer clean water to a beaker, that is decantation. So now here we can see that we have to take a other beaker, there is a liquid in it, water, and we have to see that we have to take the other beaker, that is with the sand water. So what we are doing, we are slowly pouring the clean water in the beaker, and the sand, that is the sediment, that is left in the beaker. So here we are getting a clear water to the other beaker, and that is decantation. Children, now I am going to explain you that which is better, filtration or decantation. At the end of the activity 7, you will notice that the process of decantation is not very exact. So children, you had seen that in the activity 7, the decantation process was not exact. So here we will see that what problem we were facing in that activity. Some sand also passes with the water as it is poured, and some water remains in the sand left at the bottom of the beaker. So you can see that when we were transferring the water from this beaker to the other beaker, so what was happening, some sand was also getting poured in it, and then what was happening, that some sand was getting settled at the bottom of the beaker. So the decantation is not the exact process. So children, now I am going to explain you filtration method. So if you separate the same mixture using filtration funnel, so you would get clear water in the beaker and sand would have get left behind on the filter paper. So now you can see that now we will separate it with the filtration process. So what you will see, you will get a clear water in the beaker. Why? Because we are using a filtration funnel, and in that there is a filter paper. So all the sand is getting left on the filter paper and the water is getting poured in the other beaker, that is filtrate, and we are getting a clear water. So therefore filtration is more effective method of separation than decantation. So here what children, we are coming to know that filtration is more effective method as compared to decantation. Decantation we are not getting exact pure substance, whereas in filtration we are getting pure substance, that is the clear water. Here children, there is a homework for you. You have to answer the following questions. Define solubility, solution, solute and solvent. Second question, define evaporation and lagoons. Next, define sedimentation and decantation. And last question is that we have to show that which is better, filtration or decantation. And you have to draw the diagram and you have to label it. And it is on page number 53. That is, filtration is better than decantation. Thank you.